Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our Sabbath class, the 1st of October, 2022. And what I'll be dealing with later on in the class is young Hebrew boys rule the world in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament. It's a lot of times people don't realize that, but now that we know who the Israelites are, the people that was ruling were most of the time kids, Israelite kids. Same ones that's being shown today that had no respect or no, they've been denigrated, okay? So we'll deal with that later on in the class. I'm asking everybody to check out our videos on Prophets of Awakening. There's a lot of information given. The videos will connect dots for you. That's if you're seeking the truth and bring you into the truth of the scriptures. And once you examine those videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to Prophets of Awakening channel. Hit the notification button if you like the content of the channel. Okay? So, for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with Tanakh and Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was conveyed to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts, our Redeemer. Okay? So I want to say shalom and welcome to the Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our usual, it's a moment of silence, a Sabbath prayer. We're going to do some Psalms, some current events, and a little need-to-know information. And we'll open up for some Q&A. Then we'll go into our Bible discussion. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and Yahweh, our Redeemer, all that they're doing, as we can see in the world, bringing about our deliverance and bringing to an end our captivity where we scattered over the whole world. Oh Lord, we thank you for your great mercy and your great power and wisdom, and we tarry waiting for your powerful deliverance of your people Israel. Oh Lord, you have given unto us insight into the scriptures of our forefathers, and you, O Lord, have directed us to who you are and your role in the goings on of heaven and earth. When we come this Sabbath day, doubtless that you will appear and that you will gather your nation from among these wicked Gentiles. Oh Lord, you spoke through your prophet Isaiah, and you said that you would help Abraham's seed, and that you have scattered and you have completed that promise as of this day, for we are awakened and searching you, O Lord, in these latter days. You said, O Lord, that you would remove the darkness from around us. Tarry not, O Lord, the latter days are here. We are waiting and watching for you, O Lord. Peace be unto you. Okay? So with that being said, we're going to read a song. And we'll go to some current events. Okay? This is Psalm 74 is a complaint born of faith by Asaph, David's chief musician. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doeth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember that congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregation. They set up their ensigns for signs. A man was famous according as he had lifted up axe upon the thick trees, but now they break down the carved work thereof at once with axes and hammers. They have cast fire into thy sanctuary. They have defiled by casting down the dwelling place of thy name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have burned up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophets, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long, O God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why withdraw thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. For God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragon in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan in pieces, and givest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and the flood. Thou dried up mighty rivers. The day is thine, the night is also thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy have reproached, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove into the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitation of cruelty. O let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and the needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies. The tumult of those that rise up against thee increases continuously. So that was Psalms 74, a complaint born of faith by Asaph. Anybody got any comments on that song? Psalm 74? Anything they heard? Okay, I got something right here I want to shine a light on. It says, okay, it says in verse 3, it says, remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old. So this is talking about when the Lord of hosts went to Egypt. Creator sent his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, to Egypt, and he redeemed the Israelites out of Egypt. Brought the 10 plagues, delivered them, brought them to the land of Canaan, right? So that's what he's talking about right here. When he says, uh, remember the congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. So anyway, we see right there that he redeemed Israel out of Egypt, and he received an inheritance, right? So it's no way impossible to be Yahweh. Yahweh don't have no inheritance. You can't give him nothing. Everything is already his. So whoever it is that went to Egypt received Israel as an inheritance, right? So we know anyway from Just for the people that might not know this, Judges chapter 2, we see who it is. Chapter 2, Judges, verse 1. An angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and I have brought you into the land which I swore to your fathers, and I said I would never break my covenant with you. So we see right here is an angel. The angel of the Lord is the one that went to Egypt. And he the one that made the covenant with Israel, not Yahweh. That's just a precept, get you on the right track. So anyway, let me find what I was looking for. Okay. Yeah, what I wanted to do was what I do was it was I had read where he said that he brought he redeemed the sheep. Was he's going to cross reference that with Isaiah 53. Let me find it. Okay. Yeah, anyway, I don't see it, but I go to Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53 says, I'm just, trying to get you over par, get the right understanding. So Isaiah 53 says, they want you to think that it's JC, right? But Isaiah 53 and 7 says, he was oppressed and was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation, where he was cut off from the land of the living. Transgression, for the transgressions of my people was he stricken. So when you understand that, like I was saying before, the tribe of Levi bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. So when he's saying he's using the he because of their origins. When he wrestled with Jacob, he wrestled with one man, but this one man had 12 boys, the nation of Israel. So that word he is being used in reference to singular. It is a singular because when he wrestled with Jacob, he wrestled with one man. Anyway, let me see this. Isaiah 51 says the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is a former. Let me get it. Says Isaiah 51:19, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. So yeah, that's a good verse right there. So yeah, it's you can see right here that Israel was inherited by the Lord of hosts, and the Lord of hosts is not Yahweh. But they had you thinking that the Lord of hosts is Yahweh, but he's not. We saw in Judges that the angel of the Lord and the Lord of hosts is one and the same. And he is the one who received Israel as an inheritance when he was sent to the strong one that's to deliver the Israelites out of Egypt and bring them to the land of Canaan. Okay? And I was showing you in Isaiah 53 that sheep, the word sheep is plural, it's more than one. So, okay. So with that being said, we're going to go into some current events. Okay. Let me get this. Long, bro. It's long. Okay. Uh,
Food prices are about to shoot up even higher in the next 60 days, according to industry executives who run the nation's food supply chain. Of course, food prices always fluctuate, but what Americans are about to see at the stores in the next couple of months is going to be quite shocking, they say. Thanks to endless supply chain issues, an ongoing bird flu outbreak, transportation delays, and a growing consumer demand, aggressive price increases are being announced as our grocery stores continue to have a tough time staying stocked. Meanwhile, shoppers continue to worry about shortages, and they seem more motivated to stock up on essentials before the situation worsens. Even after 2 years into the pandemic, stockpiling food is a trend that has never disappeared. But there are accusations that some people are actually hoarding. However, analysts say grocers haven't seen the worst of this wave just yet. The truth is that when more and more Americans begin to wake up to the fact that empty shelves and food scarcity are not just temporary problems, the real hoarding will begin. That's what we're going to expose today. Before moving on, please support our work with a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our future videos. In its latest update to its Food Price Outlook report, the USDA found that all food categories are expected to go up in price next month. And yes, those increases will come. That's on top of the price hike consumers have already been forced to endure over the past 12 months. All food prices are now predicted to increase between 4.5 and 5.5%, the USDA's Economic Research Service explained in its forecast report for October. And even though the overall increase already looks alarmingly high, shoppers will see even higher increases across various food categories, including beef and veal, expected to jump 16.2%, poultry 12.5%, fish and seafood 10.4%, eggs another 11.4%, fats and oils 11.7%, fresh fruits will go up by 10.6%, while processed fruits and vegetables are about to increase 7.6%, and cereals and bakery products are expected to face a 7.8% jump. But according to the food industry executive and billionaire supermarket owner John Katsimatidis, the outlook for the next 60 days is even more disturbing. During a recent interview, the expert said that overall food prices are going to hit the double-digit mark. I see over 10% price increases in the next 60 days, he told Fox Business, adding that the trend will not drop anytime soon. Katsimatidis cited rising inflation and supply chain bottlenecks that are currently plaguing supermarkets and other retailers across the nation. The expert then warned, I see food prices going up tremendously because food company CEOs want to be ahead of the curve, and the way they're doing it is that they're rolling back promotions and replacing with low-moving items. A 10% increase in a span of just 60 days would put the U.S. food inflation rate at an overwhelming 60% on an annual basis. Mole. Retailers and producers all along the supply chain continue hiking prices to pass higher costs along to consumers. Grocery prices are up 12% compared with a year ago, according to the most recent Consumer Price Index. And the coming increases are going to be extremely painful for millions of financially distressed families. New research by the SAP News Center noted that an overwhelming majority of U.S. consumers, or about 67%, said they think product shortages are the new normal. Two words we've all heard over and over again by now. More.
Okay, I'm quite sure everybody ran head on to that. These higher prices. Okay, so like I said, my job is to warn and enlighten people to see where we headed. Let me get this. Okay. Jeremiah 11, but it's like a lamb or an ox that was brought to the slaughter, and I know that they had devised devices against me. Okay. Okay. Read the whole chapter, Jeremiah 51. Okay. Shalom, sister. Okay, yeah, so I got a couple more current events.
When times are tough, people turn towards the political leadership. Citizens want their leaders to show direction, offer clarity, and deal with the uncertainties. Citizens want their governments to cushion the blow. British citizens have the same expectations from their government. There is a new prime minister at the helm, and so far, it seems like she has failed to come through. Britain's economic pressures are mounting. We already told you how the pound is doing. A recession in the UK looks inevitable. The British economy has stagnated. The UK has now fallen behind India. Inflation has soared to around 10%, the highest level since the 1980s. There is an impending energy crisis. Basically, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Liz Truss was supposed to save the day. Last week, her government finally revealed the long-awaited mini budget. What is that? Basically, an emergency package of economic measures that should stabilize the economy. The UK's new Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, called it the biggest package in generations, quote unquote. His main weapon to deal with the slowdown are tax cuts.
High tax rates damage Britain's competitiveness. They reduce the incentive to work, to invest, and to start a business. There are too many barriers for enterprise. We need a new approach to break them down, and that means reforming the supply side of our economy.
What barriers is he talking about? Let's tell you about the big moves, the takeaways from the mini budget. The super rich tax has been completely abolished. Those earning above £150,000 will not have to pay an income tax of 45%. The basic rate of income tax is being cut by just 1%. From 20%, it will be reduced to 19% next year. The cap on bonuses for bankers has been lifted. Duties paid on houses have been slashed. There was a plan to increase taxes on businesses. That has also been scrapped. Energy prices have been capped for the next 6 months. No household will be paying more than £2,500 on energy bills for the next 1 year. That is around $2,800.
Yeah, for those people that don't know, the pound collapsed. I think it was Thursday or either yesterday. It collapsed, and they had to start printing some money to try to revive it. So that's my reason for playing that. So I got one more, and then we'll
friends. All right, so we get Rashida and I get this message all the time. What about the women over 60 who are moving? What about women over 60 who are moving? This is for you. This is for the women over 60 who are interested in moving abroad. We have a special guest. We're going to talk about women over 60 moving abroad. Hello.
Black women over 60 moving abroad.
Pardon me.
Over 60 moving abroad. Yes.
Yes. Right. Let's be clear. My name is Stephanie Perry. I am one of the co-hosts of Exodus Summit. I'm the creator of House Sitter School. I help Black women take a sabbatical or move abroad or bop around as a digital nomad with ease. If these things are interesting to you, then please subscribe to this channel. This is the Exodus Summit YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you'll be notified when we post a video or when we go live with a special guest. All right, so we're gonna, Rashida, I'm gonna throw it to you.
All right. I am Rashida Dow, and I am the other host of Exodus Summit, and I am a career break coach. I help women take breaks to either move abroad or take a sabbatical, and I am one of the co-hosts of Exodus Summit, which I think I just said, but y'all, it's been a long day. And I'm super excited for today's guest because, like Stephanie said, women are always asking us, what about us? Because we're not over 60. So they think that because we're not over 60, we can't speak to them. But our guest today, child, my computer's trying to do a software update right now. All right. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And there's over 1,300 women now.
Yes. Yay. The group is going strong. All right. I may be in the group, even though I'm not 60. Don't put me out. Don't put me out. Okay.
We have a lot of younger people in the group.
I'm in the group just watching. Like, what y'all doing? What y'all talking about?
And your mom is.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I've been talking about how it's an exodus. It's already started and it's been going on. Lots of people are leaving here. So I was playing that to show you that these women here got together. They're over 60, and they got an organization called the Exodus, and they leaving. They doing their due diligence, doing their research, and they leaving here. A lot of people not, privy to that, but a lot of people leaving here. They are looking at the signs, and they may not. Some of them may not even be awakened, but they know that this what's going on with this place, and they what's getting ready to happen to it, and they getting out of here. So if you want to check that out, let me get it. It's called a women's exodus group. I'll find it in a minute. Let me look at it. Yeah, Black women over 60 are moving abroad. That's the name of it. Okay. So with that being said, what I'm discussing right now is about the Woman King. I don't know if anybody watched it, but if you haven't watched it, you might want to go back and watch it because Esau, he on the move with that. He got a hidden agenda behind that. Okay.
Nearly everything surrounding The Woman King has been fairly divisive, from the promotional material before the movie released to Viola Davis saying, if you don't watch this, if you don't financially support this movie, then you hate black women and you don't want them to succeed in the box office. And then the social media reaction has been so split, with some people saying it's incredible, it's so empowering, you must go see this, to so many other people saying boycott Woman King. They want nothing to do with this because of the changes they've made to history. The Dahomey tribe, who they have as the protagonists in this film, who they're inspired by because they're just such strong, powerful women, but they actually erase so much about their history. And the fact that in reality, they are the ones that were enslaving people. They weren't just protecting their homeland. They were attacking others. They were attacking other villages, killing so many people and enslaving the others. Well, now a lot of people are finally starting to realize that something doesn't quite make sense with The Woman King. When you look at all the backlash, when you look at the way people have been talking about it, even people that did see it, you see this audience score, a 99%. Somehow, the audiences on Rotten Tomatoes have rated it as one of the greatest movies of all time. Does that really make any sense? Even if it is a good movie, is it really a 99%? Well, that's when a lot of people started digging. A 99% audience review on Rotten Tomatoes, that's unheard of. Rotten Tomatoes is actually manufacturing fake reviews for The Woman King to give it a higher rating, and I'll show you. The profile claims to have a 99% audience score and over 2,500 verified reviews. The only problem is they're all short, posted soon, one after another, and they don't talk much about the content of the movie, rather how much of a, yes, slay queen Viola Davis is. Awesome, gorgeous movie. The movie was great, loved every moment. Award-winning portrayal, Miss Viola Davis especially. It was an amazing, action-packed movie with outstanding performances. Must see. Viola Davis and supporting cast were awesome. Now, this one here from Carol, hey, this looks like a, and look at the scores and you can see these are actual reviews. Look at how much people are writing about this. These are people that are actually giving feedback. These are real. Like this is happening right here. This is describing things that happen in the movie and things that people are upset about with a lot of these. Also, the vast majority of people are finding the negative ones helpful. But, you know, if everybody loved this movie, it shouldn't be that way, right? Positive people would be there and they'd be upvoting these things, right?
Okay, did anybody on here see the Woman King?
Yes.
Okay, what'd you get out of it?
I mean, I think you have to do your, your own research with that, because
Right.
there was good and bad in that, but the last king that was there, he changed everything. So they're not looking at that. But like I said, you have to just continue to, do your research and the reason why,
Right.
the women was in the place that they were in. And a lot of people are not doing, the in-depth research on that.
Okay. So you said good and bad. What you got good out of it?
Like I said, I got good out of that because at the end there was a righteous king on the throne. And we see that throughout the testament, that there were good and bad,
Okay.
kings that were on the throne. But the last king that was right on that throne, he was a righteous king. He came in and changed things.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Where the feedback is, they're getting a lot of bad reviews on it because they're saying that the history, the way they depicted the movie, is not adding up with the actual history of what those Amazon women were doing and the effect they had on the transatlantic slave trade and all that. So that's what that is. But yeah, like I watched it too. So it was you know, they put a twist on it, but it still was, it had good, like you said, good and bad points to it. Okay. So let me go back in and check out something right here. Nisi was talking about not Jeremiah 51, but Jeremiah chapter 11. She was asking if I'm getting that right. She was commenting on Jeremiah chapter 11, reading that, all of it. So I'm going to come back and correct that. What's up, Markel? So with that being said, I was going to So I got some more information here that I wanted to talk about. I'm opening it up right now for some Q&A. Any comments or anything about or anything they heard that you came across on any platform or what you heard on Prophets of Awakening, you want to shine a light on, make a comment. Okay, so last night on Clubhouse, I was dealing with shining a light on the fact that we at the point where war's getting ready to break out. And I don't know if anybody know anything about it, but they got a situation where that the Nord Stream or pipeline was supplying all the oil and gas to Russia. I mean to NATO, the European countries, been sabotaged. So they say it's been sabotaged in the ocean. The pipeline, the part that's in the ocean, has been sabotaged at like 4 different places, and it got gas and oil coming up out of in the ocean, bubbling up just like in the Gulf when they had the Gulf oil spill. It's bubbling up in like 4 different places in the ocean, and NATO is thinking that the European countries thinking that Russia's behind it, and they saying that it's an act of war. So I'm gonna play the video, and then we'll go in from there. I mean, I'm showing you how close we are to total chaos. That's the only way we're gonna leave here. It's got to be total chaos for us to leave here. As long as everything going good, we're gonna stay put. So anyway, let me get through this.
This is an act of war. Military strategists say that the purposeful detonation of a currently unknown type of explosive charge or weapon used in the blowing up of the Nord Stream gas pipeline is more than an act of sabotage, and nation states of the West agree that this is and was an act of war. Citing government sources, German security agencies fear both strands of the Nord Stream pipeline will be unusable forever. Sweden's foreign minister says that the United States will work to help reveal what actually happened at the pipeline. It's being reported that less than 2 weeks ago, the USA CIA warned German government officials of a potential attack on Baltic Sea pipelines. High-ranking Norwegian officials have been convened to a secret government meeting, an emergency meeting about the Nord Stream gas leak. The Norwegian Minister of Energy says that raising the level of security preparedness in all installations is a must after this attack. Joining the growing number of nations that are calling this purposeful explosion an act of war with intent, Kremlin, Russia, says that it cannot rule out that the Nord Stream damage is a result of purposeful sabotage. A Danish frigate sent to Nord Stream gas leak areas is monitoring the region. The vessel will monitor the area and it will warn civilian shipping traffic, that they must keep their distance. The Norwegian gas supply, according to reports, is the largest and most strategically important sabotage target in all of Europe right now, with the Norwegian lieutenant colonel saying that we must protect our infrastructure. More information on the crisis shows that the attack on Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 happened outside of the Danish island Bornholm. This is close to Russian territory. Strategists ask that if Russia can strike Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, will the Baltic pipe be next? And then the Norwegian pipes to the UK, to the Germany, of which Norway delivers 25% of all European gas, with the
So like I was saying before, maybe nobody knows about this, but yeah, okay. So nobody don't know about this, but this happened the last couple of days. And let me play this and then I'll talk about it.
Authorities are investigating whether sabotage is the cause of leaks in the Nord Stream gas pipelines connecting Russia to Europe. Scientists recorded explosions in the Baltic Sea before detecting 3 simultaneous leaks. Ukraine accused Russia of carrying out a terror attack. Germany, Denmark, and the US all fear it could be sabotage. The Kremlin says it's extremely concerned about the leaks. The pipeline operator says the damage is unprecedented.
Gas bubbles churn the Baltic Sea. This video from Denmark's military shows one area where, 70 meters below sea level, gas is escaping from the Nord Stream pipelines. The undersea pipelines, Nord Stream 1 and 2, link Russia and Germany. 3 red dots mark the places where leaks were detected. Even though the pipelines are not currently delivering Russian gas to Europe, there's still fuel in the pipes. The pipeline's operator reported a drop in pressure, but researchers said they had detected possible explosions in the area where the leaks were observed.
Well, the source of these explosions, as far as we can tell, there's nothing naturally occurring that could explain these. The exact source of them is of course a bit hard for us to speculate about. If these really are explosions, which we find highly likely, then of course they're man-made somehow.
Denmark's Prime Minister would not exclude intentional damage to the pipes.
We cannot rule it out. It is too early to draw conclusions. But this is an extraordinary situation. It is an unusual situation. And there are 3 leaks, even with some distance between them. And that is why it's hard to imagine that what's happening is a coincidence.
But her Polish counterpart alleged that the leaks are sabotage after the leaders toured an energy facility in Poland. The questions over the gas leaks in the Baltic Sea highlight how politicized energy supplies have become following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Kremlin says it wants to know what caused the damage too.
No option can be ruled out right now. It's clear that there is damage to the pipeline. We can't exclude any version of events regarding the reason for this before the results of the official investigation.
It's an investigation that will be closely watched by Russia and its European neighbors.
Let's watch it now with Benjamin Schmidt. He's a former European Energy Security Advisor at the US Department of State and joins us from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Welcome back to DW, Ben. What do you reckon? Sabotage?
Unfortunately, I think so, Phil. I think that, when we saw this, let's go over the timeline of the last 24 hours. The first Nord Stream 2 trunk line, remember, each Nord Stream pipeline consists of 2 trunk lines carrying half the capacity each. So the first of the 2 Nord Stream 2 trunk lines first had reports of a pressure drop, rapid depressurization, and then the visibility of a leak, basically bubbles coming to the surface that was first seen by a Danish F-16 pilot on patrol in the Baltic Sea. So what that said to me immediately was, where did this take place? And this took place southeast of Bornholm. And this is notable because the seabed southeast of Bornholm was for a long time objected to have construction like this going on by many of the Baltic Sea littoral states that took place in the Espoo Convention process that underscores the environmental security risk because of large-scale chemical and conventional munition dumping sites in that region that took place post-World War II. So my thought over last night, maybe it's some sort of physical security incident related to those dumping sites that were long since warned about since the very initiation of Nord Stream 2 project development. However, Later yesterday, overnight, the rapid drop of Nord Stream 1 pressure through both of its trunk lines in a location that happens to be northeast of Bornholm, not directly adjacent to the Nord Stream 2 site, really, hits home that it very likely is some sort of man-made incident, and this really raises the stakes in a completely new and different way, but not a way that was completely unforeseen. There are reports that are coming out that the U.S. intelligence agency, the CIA, actually warned Berlin about this potential over the summer. Again, those are reported by Spiegel.
So what man-made but deliberate, and who might benefit from sabotaging two non-operational pipelines?
Well, look, there's any number of reasons that one can think of for the Russian Federation to do this. There was some speculation in Tagesspiegel yesterday that this could be a way for Russia to create what would be considered a false flag operation. In other words, to try to blame this either on Ukraine or Ukrainian partisans, on the West, on the United States, on Poland, on Germany, you name it, NATO, and basically to churn up uncertainty. It also would create uncertainty in the markets as well, but also have that political uncertainty to try to reduce the solidarity that the West has with Ukraine. But at the same time, there's another reason that we can look at, and this is tied back to the Siemens gas turbine sanctions waiver issue that I just testified before Canadian Parliament on just a few weeks ago, which is to say that Russia already is saying that should it need to go in and help repair these pipelines, that it would have to have sanctions lifted, technology sanctions lifted on the pipelines and on Russia for them to be able to do so.
Okay, just looking at the pictures of these churning seas, one's wondering, why is there still pressurized gas in these pipelines when neither is operational?
Well, first of all, we have to remember that for Nord Stream 2, let's look at that first. Nord Stream 2 was undergoing commissioning operations in the late months of 2021 and early 2022. So it had reportedly been filled with what is known as test gas, so distilled methane, and was filled with that gas, the last reporting that I had seen in the press, before Germany took it.
So because of this right here, what I'm showing you, the European countries and America and everybody, they're on high alert. A lot of people don't know this, but the thing about it is, why I'm showing it to you, is that there's nothing new under the sun. If you just go back to how the Iraq war started, they're doing the same thing. They're pointing all the fingers at Russia, that Russia doing this, Russia behind it, because of, like, we just saw that Europe is collapsing, the pound is collapsed, the rest of the countries gonna follow. America is on the brink of collapsing. So when you look at that, you go back to who was it that bombed the World Trade Center? And when you do your research, you find out it was Esau. He the one. When you go back and look at all the information, go watch any of the documentaries, and they tell you about who stand to gain with the World Trade Center being bombed. They had insurance on it. These Edomites had insurance on the World Trade Center months before it happened. They saw them dancing in the streets when the towers came down. And then we can even go back further than that to World War I. What initiated World War I? They sunk the Lusitania. They know just what to do. These people, these luminaries, bankers, they know just what to do. They make their millions off of wars and funding both sides of the people, both sides of the conflict with weapons. Same thing Eisenhower was talking about, the industrial, military industrial complex. And then you go to World War II, or Pearl Harbor. But they want to take you off down another road and got you thinking that it's somebody else, but it's these Edomites. They know just This is exactly what had to happen in order to bring this to a high level where it's at, to put all of Europe in the dark, because they're not gonna have no winter. I mean, they're not gonna have no heat, no gas for the winter. So to sabotage these Nord Stream pipelines, they're taking it as an act of war. And you can even go back further than that. They killed Julius Caesar, the same people. Then you come back to Lincoln. They killed Lincoln. They killed JFK. So my reason for saying all that is, the scriptures already told you that it's a woman riding on the beast. It's a woman riding on the fourth beast, and the woman is decked in red. So you figure that out. She decked in red. She riding on the fourth beast. She controlling the fourth beast. She got a bit in the beast's mouth. She the one doing the controlling. And not only that, she a whore. She a harlot. And so for the last 20 years, I've been telling everybody that Esau came in the land in 143 BC. The Israelites ran out in 140 BC. Israel, these Edomites came in and stole the land of Israel, the harlot, and they existed there until 70 AD. Then the Romans ran them out. That's what nobody knows about. It's a harlot posing as, it's not the real woman. It's a harlot, it's a whore posing as a real Israelite. The real Israelites been denigrated and cast off. Our Redeemer been denigrated and cast off. And not only that, our Messiah, David, he's been cast off. Let's look at that right quick. So this ain't nothing new under the sun. I mean, you know, your local pastor and these rabbis might not know, but it's Esau. He the one sabotaged this. He did it over and over again. It's already written. They already got a Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike telling you they're gonna have 3 world wars. They the ones behind it. They the ones initiating it. Okay. And now they're doing the same thing now with Russia that they did with Saddam Hussein. They turned the whole media sources against the Russians. Okay. Like I said, you don't have your ducks in a row. You need to get them in a row. So I'm in Psalms 89, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Psalms 89. Let me get it right quick. Read that. This David, which nobody seems to know that David is the Messiah, not JC. So anyway, it says, I'm in Psalms 89, starting at 37. Psalms 89, verse 37. It shall be established forever as the moon and as the faithful witness in heaven. See thou, but thou hast cast off and abhorred. Thou hast been wroth with thine anointed. Talking about David. Thou hast made void the covenant of thy servant. Thou hast profaned his crown. See that? David got a crown by casting it to the ground. Thou hast broken down all his hedges and hast brought his stronghold to ruins. All that pass by the way spoil him. He is a reproach to his neighbors. Thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. The adversary is Esau, Edomites. That's the woman. That's the whore that's riding on the beast. The adversary. Thou hast made all his enemies to rejoice. Thou hast also turned the edge of his sword, David's sword, and has made him to stand, has not made him to stand in battle. Thou hast made his glory to cease. Thou hast cast his throne down to the ground. The days of his youth as thou shortened. Thou hast covered him with shame. Selah. How long, O Lord, wilt thou hide thyself forever? Shall thy wrath burn like fire? So we just saw in the Psalms I read earlier where they didn't cast off the Redeemer. And in Psalms 83, they cast our Redeemer off by taking away his name, the name of Israel, that they don't exist no more. Got you thinking these people, the Israelites, where they took away our Redeemer and they took away our Messiah right here in Psalms 89. So, like I said, there's no way you can even begin to try to approach these end times or even deal with them if you don't know that. Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying before, the people that don't know that, that's where we at right now as I'm speaking. You know, they everything on high alert because they saying that Russia didn't attack these pipelines. And so that means that no time soon, these NATO nations going to get any gas and oil for heat during the winter. So they're taking it as an act of war. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Everybody good on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so I had mentioned earlier about this discussion I wanted to have because I look at it and it just dazzles me. But we see how the Israelite male has no voice whatsoever when it comes to world affairs, scripture, none of that. He had no voice. He's not taking the he's not really taking lightly. They can bring somebody like some European clown on the scene and he can start prophesying and everything he say, everybody take it to heart and say, as if that's it's law. And when over and over again, from one class to the next, I'm showing you how everything that's been brought about in the world is based off lies and deception and deceit, right? So with that being said, I want to show you this image and then I want to go into, you got to let it register in your own mind too when you see it. But so here we go. Okay, so what you're looking at right here is young Israelite males, Hebrew Israelite males. And like I said, we at the bottom of the totem pole have no, there's no desire, like he said, there's no reason for nobody to seek them or, seek anything they have or any kind of counsel from them or nothing. There's no desire for that, right? So let's go and see if that's the case in the scriptures, okay? So I'm gonna start out in Daniel, right? These young Israelites, young Israelite males, okay? So I'm in Daniel, right? Chapter 1. And pick it up and let me see, I'm gonna start it. Yeah, chapter 1. Okay, I'm starting verse 1. It says, "And in the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and he besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into the hands of with part of the vessels of the house of the Lord, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto as Apenas, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and the king's seed to the princes. And so the children in whom, here we go, these children, right? Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, skillful in wisdom, cunning in knowledge, understanding of science, and such as had ability in them to stand before the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he did drink, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end of it, they may stand before the king. Right now, among these were the children. See that? These children, not grown men, young Israelites. Among them were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And they are known as the last three is known as Shadrach. Their names have changed: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these three Israelite males, just like the ones we just saw. But we see right here, they at the top of the food chain, and we're going to see Nebuchadnezzar is going to examine them, and we're going to see what they count as words. And you have to ask yourself, how did we get to where we at now? So it says, verse 17, as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge. Yahweh, and the Lord of hosts, gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions of dreams. Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them, and among them was found none like Daniel, and nobody like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Ezra. Therefore stood they before the king. So this is just 4. We know that the Most High promised, he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he was going to multiply his seed like the sands of the sea. We talked about that, how he accomplished that, and then he scattered them, and they ended up over in Negro land. These are people that was in Negro land. These are their abilities right here. These are what they had. This is what they was capable of. So it says that they stood before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the musicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even to the first year of Cyrus. So what you have to see right here, people talk about the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade. And I showed you the other night how not only was it the transatlantic slave trade, it was the Indian Ocean slave trade too. And so it's not even imaginable the human tragedy that went down because of, we see their countenance. These wasn't buffalo, like the same people European came to America and wiped the buffalo out. These Most High people that they wiped out. They was doing this too with the slave trade and all the brutality that went on with it. To the day, that's how we get to the day where we're not even viewed as, they spend more money on their cats and dogs in the run of a year than they do with us. They show their cats and dogs more attention and reference than they even do us. Okay, but I just showed you that Daniel, Shadrach, and Meshach, and Abednego were 10 times wiser than even Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was astonished at them. Okay, so like I said before, so when you riding about, out and about, riding, and you see these Hebrew Israelites, you gotta approach them and look upon them in a different light with the right information. Okay, so anyway, it says we're gonna go to David. I'm in 2 Samuel, right? I'm in 2 Samuel, and it says chapter 7. So these boys, now these ain't men. So I'm in chapter 7, and I'm starting at verse 7. It says, verse 6. Whereas I have just the Most High sent Nathan to go tell David this. Whereas I have dwelt in any place, and since the time that I was brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but I have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, in all the places wherein I have walked. With all the children of Israel spake I a word of any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye me a house? Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, see that? David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel. So he was a little boy when he found it. A little Hebrew Israelite boy. Same ones you see walking up and down the side of the highway and, you know, in the ghettos that nobody got no respect for. Okay? 9. And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name like the name of the great men that are in earth. So this is what he did for David. When I showed you why nobody can fathom that David is the Messiah, it's because of the same bull crap they're doing now with this propaganda machine that they got. You tell the average Hebrew Israelite woman or man that David is the Messiah, they can't fathom him. They think you're a nutcase. So anyway, so we see right here the Creator, the Redeemer that came down from heaven, came and communed with David and raised David up. It wasn't Winston Churchill, you know, or the Prime Minister of Great Britain. It was the Creator, the Redeemer himself came down and raised David up. Came down and raised Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego up. Hebrew Israelite boys, right? So let's look at 1 Samuel, right, correct? 16. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take the heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. See that? So you got the whole earth, the whole planet before the Lord of hosts. All kind of people on the planet. He chose this Hebrew Israelite boy when he told Samuel to go anoint him. And when you understand Jerusalem and the goings on of Jerusalem, he appointed him ruler over the planet. If you're the king of Jerusalem, he chose this boy right here to be king over the planet. Most High, only the Israelites got the laws and oracles of God. Nobody else have them. So if he chose Joseph, if he chose David to be the ruler over the planet, a young Hebrew Israelite boy. Okay, let's go to Exodus chapter 2. Okay, I'm in Exodus chapter 2, and it says, this is the birth of Moses. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took a wife for the daughter of Levi. And the man conceived and bore a son. And so anyway, let me check this out, because I mentioned this last night. It says in verse 1, there went a man of the house of Levi, right? He's from the house of Levi, took a wife of the daughter of Levi. So this is what he was talking about when he said that he planted a vineyard and he took choice grapes and planted them. He's talking about right here, not mingled. This is a man from Levi that married a woman of Levi. That's what he mean by a choice grape. Okay, so did 2. He says, and the woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw him, he was a goodly child. She hid him 3 months, and when he could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and dubbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags of the river brink, river brink, and his sister stood afar off, and to with what would be done unto him. So we see right here that Moses was a child when he found Moses. Moses was a child, a Hebrew Israelite boy, right? Okay. So with that being said, I want to read something out of I'm gonna read it out of Jasher that a lot of people don't know about. So I'm in Jasher. Like I said, these people got full of lies and deception, and they take away information to keep you from getting the full understanding of what's going on. So this when Moses was in the Pharaoh's house. We saw right here that we know the story. He came, she put him in the basket. He went down and he floated down to where the Pharaoh's daughter was, and she took him in. Right? It says, so I'm gonna pick it up in chapter 30 of Jasher. And in the third year from the birth of Moses, Pharaoh was sitting at a banquet when Apparat, I don't know, his queen was sitting in his right hand and Betha is on his left. And the lad Moses, the young boy, young Hebrew Israelite boy, Moses was lying upon her bosom, and Balaam, the son of Beor, and his two sons, and all the princes of the kingdom were sitting at the table in the king's presence. And the lad stretched forth his hand upon the king's head, took the crown from the king's head, placed it on his head. And when the king and the princes saw the work which the boy had done, the king and the princes were terrified. And one man to his neighbor expressed astonishment. And the king said unto the princes who were before him at the table, what speak you, and what say you, O ye princes, in this matter? And what is to be the judgment against the boy on account of this act? And Balaam the son of Beor, the musician, answered before the king and the princes, and said, remember now, O my lord and king, the dream which thou didst dream many days since, and that which thy servant interpreted unto thee. Right? So he referring to Daniel, another Hebrew Israelite boy. Right? 6. Now therefore, this is a child from the Hebrew children, in whom it is a spirit of God. And let not my lord the king imagine that this youngster did this thing without knowledge. So I want to pause right there. So he says, this is the greatest civilization ever, Egyptian civilization. And this is what the people think about the Hebrews. He says, verse 6, now therefore this child is from the Hebrew children, right? In whom the Spirit of God. So they already knew that. The Spirit of God from Joseph. They knew the Spirit of God was in these Hebrew Israelite boys. And like I said before, how in the hell to get to where it's at now? But when the greatest civilization ever existed on the planet knew that the knowledge of the Most High and the knowledge, wisdom, and knowledge and everything existed in these Hebrew Israelite boys. They knew that. So then 7, for he is a Hebrew boy, and wisdom and understanding are with him, although he is yet a child. See that? Even though he's a child, this from one Hebrew Israelite boy to the next is the standard. That's the standard. And with wisdom he has done this thing and chosen unto himself the kingdom of Egypt. For this is the manner of all Hebrews, to deceive kings and their nobles, and to do all these things cunningly, in order to make the kings of the earth and their men tremble. Surely thou knowest that Abraham their father acted thus, who deceived the army of Nimrod, king of Babylon, Amalek, king of Gerar, and he possessed himself of the land of the children of Heth and all the kingdoms of the Canaanites, and that he descended into Egypt and said to Sarah his wife, she is my sister, and ordered to mislead the Egyptian, Egypt and her king. And the son of Isaac also did so when he went to Gerar and dwelt there, and his strength prevailed over the army of Amalek, king of the Philistines. He also he also thought of making the kingdom of the Philistines stumble, and saying that Rebekah, his wife, was his sister. Jacob also dwelt treacherously with his brother, and took from his hand his birthright and his blessing. He went then to Panorama to the house of Laman, his mother's brother, and cunningly obtained from him his daughter, his enemy talking, and his cattle, and all belonging to him, and fled away and returned to the land of Canaan to his father. His sons sold their brother Joseph, who went down into Egypt and became a slave, and was placed in a prison house for 12 years, until the former Pharaoh dreamed dreams and withdrew him from the prison house and magnified him above all princes in Egypt on account of his interpreting his dreams to him. And when God caused a famine throughout the land, he sent for and brought his father and all his brothers and the whole of his father's household, and supported them without price or reward, and bought the Egyptians for slaves. Now therefore, my Lord King, behold, this child has risen up in their stead in Egypt, to do according to their deeds, and to trifle with every king, prince, and judge. If it please the king, let us not spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up and take away the government from thy land, and the hope of the Egyptians perish after he shall have reigned. So let's look at that. So I'm showing you that creator of the universe working through these boys. They boys. Boys become men. So he says right here, if it please the king, let us spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up. Come on. Lest he grow up. He already dangerous as a little boy. All of them. So lest he grow up and take away the government from thy hands, and the hope of Egypt perish after he shall have reigned. And Balaam said to the king, let us moreover call for all the judges of Egypt and the wise men thereof, and let us know if the judgment of death is due this boy, as thou didst say, and then we will slay him. And the Pharaoh sent and called for all the wise men of Egypt, and they came before the king. And here we go. And the angel of the Lord came among them, and he was like one of the wise men of Egypt. So let's look at it. Okay, so we already see that we different. But not only that, we got the Redeemer following us everywhere we go. These boys got the Redeemer following them. Right? So long as they in good standards in righteousness, he following them. He following them. So he didn't came in amongst these wise men, posing as a regular man amongst them. So 22. And the king said unto the wise men, surely you have heard what this Hebrew boy who is in the house has done, and thus has Balaam judged in the matter. Now judge you also, and see what is due to the boy for the acts he hath committed. And the angel, whom seemed like one of the wise men of Pharaoh, answered and said as follows: before all the wise men of Egypt, and before the kings of the princes, if it please the king, let the king send for men who shall bring before him an onyx stone and a coal of fire. Right. So this is another situation. We saw that these boys connected to the coals of fire. He put a coal of fire on Jeremiah's mouth. He put coals on Ezekiel, right? So he says, this is the source of their knowledge and wisdom. So it says, and if the child should, okay, say 25, if it please the king, let the king send for men who shall bring before him an onyx stone and a coal of fire, and place them before the child. And if the child shall stretch forth his hand and take the onyx stone, then shall we know that the wisdom has the youth done all that in wisdom the youth have done all that he has done, and we must slay him, right? It says, but if he stretch forth his hand unto the coal, come on. If he stretch forth his hand unto the coal, then shall we know that it was not with knowledge that he did this thing, and he shall live. And it seemed good in the king's eyes, and it seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes. So the king did according to the word of the angel of the Lord. And the king ordered the onyx stone and coal to be brought and placed before Moses. And they placed the boy before them, and the lad endeavored to stretch forth his hand to the onyx stone. But the angel of the Lord took his hand and placed it upon the coals. Right? Same angel that put the coals on Jeremiah's mouth. And the coals became extinguished in his hand. And he lifted up, and he lifted it up and put it in his mouth. And it burned part of his lips and part of his tongue, and he became heavy in his mouth and tongue. So we see right here, the angel of the Lord had to do this to save Moses' life, because he had something for Moses to do. And if he would have took the onyx stone, they was gonna kill him. But this is the reason Moses couldn't talk. This is the reason Moses stuttered right here. So this is how he had the reason why he had to get Aaron. The dude was talking for him. But they don't tell you that. They give you this other bloated story they give you in the King James. Okay? So anyway, that was Moses. I just gave you some back history on Moses. So now we're dealing with children of Israel when they getting ready to go into the land of Israel, which a lot of people may not know, but it's Numbers chapter 14, right? So you got to know that a deliverance is coming, because these people got to be delivered. Look at our status. So I'm in Numbers chapter 14 and starting at verse 20. So it says, and the Lord said, I have pardoned according to, okay, I have pardoned according to thy word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, because all these men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt in the wilderness, and have tempted me. Now these 10 times I have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. So we know what happened with Moses, right? He saw the land, but he was taken after that. 24. But my servant Caleb became, because he had another spirit with him, and have followed me fully. Him will I bring into the land wherein he went, and his seed shall precede it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelled in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get ye up into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil generation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Their carcasses shall fall in the wilderness, and all that were numbered unto you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Notice, 20 years and old upward. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swore unto you. I swore to make you dwell therein, save Caleb, the son of Juniper, and Joshua, the son of Nun. But your little ones, the children, see that? Which ye said shall be a prey, them will I bring. They shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in the wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear ye whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year shall ye bear bear your iniquity, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of purpose. And the Lord have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me in the wilderness. They shall be consumed there, and they shall die. So we see right here, it was children that was brought in the land. It's children that build up Jerusalem. Right? Okay, so let's keep going. Okay. Yeah, so it's children that build up Jerusalem, not no adults. He brought children in. Only Joshua and Caleb was the adults. Okay, so here's a couple more examples, then I'll open up for some questions. So we see right here in 2 Kings, right quick. 2 Kings, chapter 11. Okay, chapter 11, 2 Kings. This is Joash, right? And then verse 21. Okay, it says, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was quiet, and they slew Adnah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Joash when he began to reign. So this is one of David's descendants. He was 7 years old. He the king. He the king of Israel. He's 7 years old. So you shouldn't be surprised after you saw what Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did, what Moses did, right? So it says, chapter 12, verse 1, in the 7th year of Joash began to reign. 40 years he reigned in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Ziba of Bathsheba. Then verse 2, and Joash did that which was right. 7 years old, he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. And all his days when Jonadab the priest instructed him, but the high places were not taken away. So anyway, so we see that he did that was right. One more. 2 Kings 22, right? And everybody should know this boy right here. So I'm in 2 Kings 22. This Josiah, right? And it says, I'm gonna read verses 1 through 7. It says Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Edadiah of Boshka. I can't say these names. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the ways of David, his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azallah, the son of Mushalim, the scribe, to the house of the Lord. Go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of the Lord, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people, and let them deliver it into the hands of the doors of the work, that doors of the work that have the oversight of the house of the Lord, and let them give it to the doors of the work which is in the house of the Lord, to repair the breaches of the house, unto the carpenters and to the builders, the masons, and to build timber and the hew stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered unto them unto their hands, because they dwelt falsely. So we see right here, this is a little bitty boy. He's in charge of the affairs of Jerusalem. The Lord of hosts temple and all the goings on in Jerusalem. Kids, okay? And so my thing is this: how the hell we get to this? How we get to that's not being referenced now? How we end up being 2/3 humans, and then, which is cool, but how in the hell is other Israelites doing the same thing they doing when they see them? It's because he ain't did no research. Lack of understanding, lack of knowledge. Going along with liars, conjurers and liars and instead of going along with the program, instead of going outside of that and doing some research. You should be running to these Israelites rather than but you shunning them because of, like I said, from head start to 18 years old, you've been brainwashed. Okay? And like I said before, I can train a baboon to do that. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for some. Anybody have any comments or questions about it? Okay. Let me see what's over this. It says Exodus 13, 15, 16, the complete opposite of what Revelations in regards to the Israelite children. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, well, like I was saying, when you understand what's going on, our enemies, our adversaries, the Esau, I was telling you about, got a hold to our records. And they denigrated all our forefathers. Like I said, Noah was, the Most High said Noah was perfect. He said Methuselah in the book of Joshua, Methuselah and Lamech, they was perfect. So it's only fitting and proper that Noah gonna be perfect, but they tell you he was a drunk. After he get out the boat, he a drunk. So so that's how they go. David, the whoremonger, Jacob, a usurper. Okay, and like I said, and if you can't see that, then you might need to go drink some bleach or something, because if you can't see what's being done and what has happened, then there's something wrong. Okay. Anybody got any comments on anything before we exit these premises?
Great topic. Great topic.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not that let me read this, man, because this is a serious question that the Lord of Hosts posed. A lot of people not really dealing with it. So it says, I'm in Obadiah. Like I said, Zerubbabel, all of a sudden, Zerubbabel and Obadiah is at the forefront of conversations. When just 5 years ago they wasn't, because everybody was following the narrative of the New Testament. So nobody knew Zerubbabel, nobody knew Obadiah. They was lost in outer space. So anyway, let me get Obadiah. So he asked a question right here, the Creator. He says, if thieves came to thee, Obadiah verse 5, it's only one chapter. If thieves came to thee, crooks, that's what that is, Edomites. Thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art I cut off? I just gave you an example what the Israelite was capable of. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came unto thee, would they not leave some grapes? What's the grapes? I just showed you what the grapes was. The ones that's first ripe. Little boys. Hebrew Israelite boys. Then 6, how are the things of Esau? He's telling you who it is. So you want to know who sabotaged the North Stream? Here it is right here. So it says, all the men, it says, how are the things that Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederation have brought thee even to the borders. And the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none that understand in thee. So we see right here, we know what the grapes are. So like I said before, how is it now? They're not referenced no more. They've been shelved off. It's down the road. Nobody deals with them. Nobody, not even their own people, deal with them. Okay. So it's not. You have to understand that you see how superior we are in sports. But Nebuchadnezzar just checked out Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in all matters. So we that dominant in sports, we that dominant mentally and physically and wisdom.
Right, right.
But we fumbling with that. We think I can usurp myself over them because of you going by the narrative that's been shown to you, given to you in deceit. But like I said before, if they that dominant in every other category, they that dominant mentally and physically and running countries and in running people and being leaders. Like I said, he chose a little 8-year-old boy on 3 or 4 occasions to run the affairs of Jerusalem. But they ain't registering in our mind. Okay? So anybody got anything before I go? Let me see what okay. All right, okay, yeah, I can go for that. But the actual evidence and history show that they were giants, grown men. So these was children that the Most High dealing with, and not only that, they was in leadership positions. Right. So like I was saying, David couldn't even when he came to the camp of Saul and saw Goliath and what he was talking about, he wasn't but a boy. He couldn't fathom how was this dude talking like this? This is a little boy. So you know what he done? Okay.
Because they knew and understood where their strength came from. They never fumbled with that. No matter how young they were, they never fumbled with that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
and they knew that they can face anything and defeat that. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew who was always behind them, their shield.
Right. And they talking back and they talking to angels. They're talking back and forth to angels. Like I said before, it's not he ain't, the angel of the Lord didn't change Jacob's name just for the hell of it. He says, we know the angels that came down, the 200 angels that came down, El. They got El on the end of their name, strong
Right,
ones.
right.
So he changed Jacob's name to Israel.
Come on.
He didn't do that for the hell of it. Okay? And we fumbling with it. You ain't gonna get this in the church house, or you ain't gonna get it in the mega church or in the synagogue, because they don't possess the understanding and knowledge of it. Okay? So with that being said, nobody else don't have nothing. Okay. I'm gonna say shalom and another shalom. And I'll see everybody this evening at 6 o'clock to close out the Shabbat. Shalom.
Shalom.